At the top tonight, County Judge Barbara Canales announcing that all the tests have now been completed on employees at STX Beef, where an outbreak of COVID-19 has been reported. The meat processing plant is located on Leopard near Rand Morgan. Tonight, there are now a confirmed 63 positive cases associated with that site. Our Bill Churchwell has a story.
The total number of positives are 63.
Those 63 positive results announced Wednesday following a number of days of testing at South Texas Beef. 747 people tested in all, with the help of the Texas Guard.
That includes individuals, not only employees, but also contract workers and even vendors.
I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
It was just last week when a wife of one of the workers at the meat processing plant made this emotional plea on social media after learning her husband tested positive for the virus.
I'm telling you, it's ugly. I would want to know if I was working somewhere where someone tested positive.
Those who have tested positive are being asked to self-isolate and will not be allowed to enter the facility until they are cleared to do so. The large employer is considered to be an essential business and food supplier under the President's Defense Production Act.
I just want everybody to know there is no evidence of food or food packaging being associated with transmission of COVID-19.
Testing is also now being extended to family members of the same households of all employees at the plant.
I know that you might be anxious or worried. And what I want to tell you is that I know that the process we have is a good process.
Family members of South Texas Beef employees can call this number 361-414-6700 to make an appointment. You do not need to show symptoms in order to get tested. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.